Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to this SoulDisco Exclusive, as we welcome hot original member Juanita Cruel, who joins us from Las Vegas. Hot rose to international stardom with their 1977 hit single Angel in Your Arms.
Let the angel in your arms this morning. It's gonna be the devil in someone else's arms tonight. Yes, the angel in your arms this morning.
And for the first time in 39 years, Juanita is opening up her archives and let us hear unreleased demo songs which were intended to be released on a fourth Hot album, which unfortunately never took place.
Now the price I'm paying is the hurt in your eyes. You wanna hurt me too much, saying goodbye. Don't do it. Don't tell me it's over. Don't let one night of careless love make you care. Always find you by my side. Before the bruises roll chills up and down my spine. Oh, the thought of you is driving me right out of my mind. Someone like you would have spent my nights just waiting. I wish that I had saved it all for you. I wish you were the only man I ever knew. Right here beside you. Lately I've been wondering who you're loving all my time. 'Cause the nights have been so lonely here with just a body next to mine. Let it be me you love tonight. Reach out for me to bring our hearts' desire with so many dreams that never come true. I'll always bless the day I found you. We're so in love on Christmas night. You feel much too much for me. Yeah, take it easy, baby. You know my heart's in love tonight. Take it easy, baby. You know I can't put up a fight. Say, hey, woman to woman, thank you for loving him. I'm here to thank you. You gave him hope when he lost the will to love again. Woman to woman, friend to friend.
Well, hi, Nadine.
Hi Juanita.
It's good to see you. And I want to thank you for doing this interview and talking about these songs that have kind of been hiding out for a few years. When you asked me to do this interview, I went back and I listened to the songs. I was amazed. They're really strong. You were right. And they held up. So thank you again for doing this. Otherwise, a lot of music just kind of gets lost if it wasn't for people who, like you, actually.
Thank you very much. I feel very honored. Before we go into detail, I want to make a little introduction for some people who are not so familiar with Hot.
Okay.
You are an original member of the 70s group Hot, who had a major hit in 1977 with Angel in Your Arms. I think it was an international smash hit. And I also picked up the albums. I think this was the first one which featured Angel in Your Arms.
That looks familiar.
Yeah.
And I think that was the second album, and it's really one of my favorite covers. I think this is
Yeah,
something
me
you burn
too.
house with. Am I correct?
I can't hear you. What?
Is this something, this item on the cover, is that something you burn cows with? Because
I don't know.
the guy on the back has a burning mark on his back.
Oh yeah, it was that was painted on by an artist. You know, it's that they painted it on, and the the song was, if that's the way that you want it, well,
Okay,
you
thanks.
got it.
And that was the last album, I think, from Hot was from 1979, which featured Taking Your Love for Granted.
Yeah, yeah. It was called, that one was called Stronger Together.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I love the picture on the back. I mean, seriously, can you see that? Lovely picture.
Yes, I can see that, right. Wow, I was pretty skinny then.
I think during this whole pandemic thing, I gained, in the first pandemic, we had 3 lockdowns so far. In the first lockdown, I lost weight. In the second lockdown, I could keep that weight. And in the third lockdown we are now in, I gained weight again. So it's
Really?
really.
Oh.
So,
Well, you look great. You don't look like you're heavy or too thin. You look really good.
well, it's the camera angle, but thank you very much. And Angel in Your Arms was so successful that you also recorded, I think, a Spanish version, which here is the cover of the Spanish version.
Right,
So,
right.
how did Hot started for you, Juanita? How did you enter that supergroup?
Okay, I'm trying to get rid of something here that just popped up on my screen. Okay, how did I start with Hot? Was that the question? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah. How did you become a member of Hot? Because I think the group wasn't yet started, so you were one of the original members. How did you get into the group? How did that start for you?
I was living in Las Vegas, and I was doing a lot of lounge shows, and then I did an audition with Wayne Newton, and he was like in the big showroom. He was like Mr. Las Vegas. And I stayed with him for about 4 years. During that time, I wrote my first song. It's called Christmas in the USA, and he recorded it. So when that happened, I realized how much I liked the songwriting, even more than the singing. But there weren't any record companies here in Vegas then, and or demo studios. So, and then the artists, when they came to Las Vegas, they already were complete. They had their hit records, they had their production, it was done. So I thought, I gotta move. I gotta move to LA, because that's where these artists get these songs. So I had 2 auditions that week, the second week I was there. And one was for, Stevie Wonder. And he was going on the road looking for background singers. And then the second one was for a group called Sugar and Spice, which later became Hot. Of course, we didn't know then. So that was kind of a difficult audition because it was done in Gwen Owens' attorney's building, and he was like way high. So here I am with my little cassette player, and I'm climbing up these stairs, and here I walk into this kind of a block, an office. And so they asked me a few questions, and I sang my song, whatever was on that cassette, and then I went home. So when I went home, I thought, I'm just going to keep auditioning because I heard it was really tough to get into the music business in LA. So I gave myself a year. I thought, I'll just audition for everything. But then the following week, Ed Sherman, the attorney, called me and started asking me a lot of questions, especially about traveling. And I said, sure, I'll go. I was ready. And so he said, okay, I'll get back to you. He called me the next day and he said, Gwen Owens from Sugar and Spice would like for you to be a part of the group. She thinks you'd be perfect for the group. Within 2 weeks, we were in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, which was the studio was called Muscle Shoals, I think, or Wishbone. And it was very famous recording studio. I think even Elvis recorded there. So there it was. That's how I got with Sugar and Spice, which later, when we got a record deal with Big Tree, we were at a meeting and let's see, let me get this straight. Oh yeah, it was Gwen who came out with the group named Hot. The record company didn't really like Sugar and Spice. And during that time, the slang was, everything was hot. Then later it went, oh, that's cool, man. But then, and then there was a group also called Hot Chocolate. But Gwen said, you know what? Let's just call ourselves Hot. She said, I think we're pretty hot. And there's 3 letters, there's 3 girls. And so that's how I got with Hot. Now, Hot, or Sugar and Spice, was already a group that was Gwen Owens, Kathy Carson, and a girl by the name of Irene. And Irene backed out because she didn't want to travel. And I think that's why when the attorney called me, he asked me so many questions about traveling. So lucky for me, I just fit. I just slipped right in to a group. They already had Terry Woodford and Clayton Ivey as producers. So I was blessed. I just walked into that group.
So then you hot hit it with a smash. The first single was, I think, Angel in Your Arms, one of the first singles, and it was the international smash hit. What do you remember from that buzzing time when everybody was playing Angel in Your Arms?
I think my best memory of it, we were in a car going to do a radio interview. And Terry Woodford was in the car, Gwen and Kathy and I. And he turned on the radio and, he was talking, he played a few songs. Then there was the song, Angel in Your Arms. And we were like screaming at the top of our lungs, especially Gwen, she had this really high voice. She was like, oh my God, it's on the radio, it's on the radio. So that was my favorite memory of when you first hear it on the radio. It was thrilling, actually.
Terry Woodford once told me that Angel in Your Arms was a hit because many women could relay on that song. It was one of the first songs where a woman was saying, if you want to fool around, go ahead, but I'm not fooling. So maybe what do you think is the meaning of Angel in Your Arms, and why do you think it was so successful?
I think you described it really well. Now, what I thought was interesting about that song was that it was written by our producers, Clayton Ivey and Terry Woodford, and it was written by men, but yet it had this message of this woman. She didn't actually cheat. She was giving her husband or her boyfriend a warning, because she said, the angel in your arms this morning is going to be the devil in someone's arms tonight. So she warns him that she's going to do it.
Perfect. So after these 3 albums I've showed at the beginning, which were recorded with Big Tree, you changed record labels. Why did that happen?
Let's see, we were on Big Tree Records, and they were a subsidiary of Atlantic Records. And Atlantic Records decided to close some of their smaller record companies. Big Tree was one of them. So now we were free to, join another record company. In those days, it's not like we didn't have the internet, so you really needed a record company to be heard. We went over to Boardwalk. Well, actually, Boardwalk came to us. They loved the group. They loved the sound. And so we went with Boardwalk. They did, actually, we brought in the demo Tonight and The Nights Are Not Enough. And they loved it so much, just the demos, that they didn't even record it. So they put it out they were going to put it out as a single during that time. But what happened was that it was owned by Neil and Joyce Bogart. And he died unexpectedly for us. And I think he was around 37 or so. And so here we had everything go New York with the money, and all these companies were saying, yeah, we're going to get behind this hot group. But when he passed away, everything just kind of stopped. Companies pulled out, and so that's what happened. It just kind of stopped right there.
So, and here comes now, for those who haven't seen it, this is the original 1982 single of Hot Tonight and The Nights Are Not Enough from Hot from 1982. And I think when we first talked about it, you were kind of surprised that it was even released.
Yeah, I think what happened during that time, we were very disappointed about what happened to Neil. And we were all very sad. And that's when the group started to break apart. Kathy was the first one to leave. And Gwen and I, we tried to keep the group going. We brought in another girl, but it was just never the same. So then we decided to end the group as well. Gwen went on to do some solo things. Actually, she recently has done some gospel albums. I came back to Las Vegas and, continued the lounge. Did I answer that question?
Thank you.
Okay. And, I started going and I didn't forget what the question was.
Oh, that's perfect. It was news for me that they used the demo versions of Tonight and The Nights Are Not Enough for a single release. So that was kind of interesting. So. But before you left the Broadwalk label, or before it was bankruptcy, you recorded some demos, and that's one of the main reasons we are talking here tonight. That you were checking your vows, and there was material you recorded with Hot for a fourth album, which none of these songs were ever released. So as of today, this is the first time the songs see the light of the day. So. What happened with those demo songs? How did they happen? And most of them were written by you, or co-written. So let's talk about that.
Well, my main co-writer during that time was Kate Brower, who was in Kate Ornelas. And we were roommates, so we had a lot of time together and to write. And from one album to the next, we just kept writing, and we kept going into the studio, and we were doing these demos because, of course, we wanted our song to be on each album. So after the third album, we had all these demos, and of course, that fourth album never showed. It didn't get created. So that's how it happened. We just kept writing, and I was very fortunate to write with some very heavy writers at that time. besides Kate, um, Phyllis Brown, Paul Gordon, Chris Mantain. All these were, well, when you get a little action, you know, like we did have, our song went to #6 on the top 10. And we did go to Billboard. We were nominated for Best Song of the Year. So when you get that kind of action, then you can pull all these heavyweights, all these great writers at that time. So that's how these songs got recorded. We just kept recording and writing, and hopefully we were hoping that some of these songs would just click and go on the album.
How did you record it, the demos? Were they recorded on simple cassettes, or were they recorded on reel-to-reel tapes?
They were recorded in a studio, and then we got copies on cassettes. Does that answer your question?
Perfectly.
Yeah, and then later I had the cassettes made into CDs, and now I'm having them made into digital. So, you know, trying to save as much material as I can. There's probably still material that I could probably dig up, or Kate, you know, Kate, she kept everything. And so did Gwen. You know, Gwen's a good songwriter too. And so she kept a lot of the pictures, and which I didn't.
Do you still have the original cassettes, or were they gone by the wind?
No, I don't. I have a few cassettes, you know, since I knew we were going to do the interview, but those cassettes are basically just ideas. Because like Kate said, you would carry that doggone cassette player everywhere you went. And so I have those cassettes where I would just put in ideas. So I'm going to check that out and see if any of those ideas are worth following through and writing from them.
Absolutely, yeah, because you sent me one of those CDs when we did the first story in 2018 with Hot. And therefore we released some snippets, and you know, people loved it. And there are quite a few interesting songs on it, like Careless Love, Take It Easy Baby, Haunting Me. What is your favorite song of those demos?
You know, I think that's probably the hardest question you're going to ask me today. I'm not sure if I have a favorite, because what happens is when you're writing a song, that's my favorite at that time. And then when I go to write another, oh, no, this is my favorite, and this is my favorite. So I know one of Kate's favorites is We're So in Love on Christmas Night, which of course she was more of a romantic person than I was. And the other Christmas song we wrote that I liked is I Wish There Were No Sad Songs on This Christmas Night. And that was more like We Are the World kind of song. And I hired a group of children to sing on the chorus. But going back to, I wrote a lot of ballads, so I think probably Take It Easy Baby was fun. It's about a woman who has had an affair with this man, and he has brought out all this feelings in her. And of course, you know, Kate came right in with all that romantic stuff. And it's about, she just says, take it easy, baby. You know, it's like, my heart can't take it. And it says, you say you'll be back real soon. And I say, oh no, I need a week or two. You know, so I like that lyric in that song. Her lyric that I like was, with you, my body knows no shame. And I thought, all right. So that was a fun song to do.
Yeah, one of my favorites are Careless Love. I wish that would have been,
Oh,
if it would have been a single in the beginning of the 80s, I'm sure it would have been a hit, really. And
thank you.
Could You Love Me? I think Could You Love Me is, I love the recording of it, even if there's a special moment at the end when you hear the dog. But this is an absolutely beautiful song.
Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm very excited about the public hearing these songs. But we do want to remember that some of the recordings probably aren't that good. Like you said, Could You Love Me Like You Loved Her? That song. We did it in the living room with a piano. And of course, we put the dog outside, and he barks at the very end. So I know that's one of your favorite songs, and you actually took the dog part out. I don't know how you did it, but thank you for that. Careless Love, that was, I like hooky titles, like Don't Let One Night of Careless Love Make You Careless for Me. Those kind of titles I got all the time. And so I thought, I love this title, let's just write a song around it. And it's actually, it could be sung by a woman or a male, asking forgiveness for, having an affair. That one.
Yeah,
Thank you for liking these songs.
yeah, but I think that you mentioned it that the sound of it, it's not perfect digital everything, but I think that makes the song so unique and so special because you get a feeling of that time. Back in those days when I had my Walkman in it, the sound wasn't crystal clear and remastered till no end, so that I think makes the songs even more charming.
Well, I'm glad you have that perspective of it. I don't. I'm listening to these things and I'm going, I can't hear Gwen. Why isn't Gwen's voice louder? And I start critiquing it. And but I like your idea better. It's like it's all part of the 80s and the 70s, and that's the way it was done.
Yeah. So when I listen to records, I don't have a crystal clear sound or everything. I have some crackles and some noises in it, but I love it. And that's why I listen to vinyl. I don't like these over digitalized, remastered everything. For me, it's bloodless. So
Really?
I'm very happy. Yeah, you see the background. This is not digital.
Oh,
It's all vinyl. So this is, but I think that's what people want to hear. They want to hear to have the soul again in the music, and you don't have that with everything is clear and no noise and nothing, at least in my opinion.
well, thank you for that. It kind of helps me to be a little less critical when I hear these productions. What would be great if these songs got recorded by other artists. That's really a thrill as a songwriter to have someone take a song and just take it to a place I would have never thought of. It's like, wow, really? So, like I said, the production, well, it's kind of old, but yeah, like I said, I would love it if somebody recorded these songs and brought them up to date.
If somebody finds the song now on our YouTube channel, how can they get in touch with you concerning maybe re-recording? How can they do that?
Well, I think you are going to put them on YouTube, and so I will leave that up to you. It's either a phone number, I guess, that goes on YouTube, or an email. We can do either one. You think that would be okay?
We work that out, but I think I'll put an email in it, and so people can get in touch with it, with you especially to do that.
Great.
Was Gwen always the lead on those demo songs?
Yes, I had to think about it because Kathy Carson did do a couple of leads. the studio for me was challenging. And what Gwen, she just kind of shined when she went and, you know, she heard these songs, and some of them were, I could barely understand what they were saying. Boy, she just bumped them up to excellence. With me being in the studio, it was kind of claustrophobic, and I come from a background of doing live shows in Vegas and Reno and Tahoe. So being in the studio, it's like you had, you know, phones like the one I have on now, and you could hear yourself breathe, and they could hear you breathe. So I kind of backed off on singing a lot of leads, and but I thought we have a great singer like Gwen, and I loved the way she did my songs better than I sang it. So I said no. The beauty of that group was that there wasn't any jealousy. We all came together. We really supported Gwen and her vocal.
How do you want Hot to be remembered?
They were good. They were hot.
Is there a final message, a special message you want to share with the fans?
Well, I think I can boil it down to basically thank you. It takes so many people to help a song become a hit. The record company, the producers, the radio, the production companies, the traveling, and what puts it all together is the fans. You know, they're the ones who buy it, and they're the ones who love it. So basically, I would just like to say thank you for enjoying our music, and thank you for enjoying our music as well.
So all I can say is we are very glad that you trust us with the demo tapes, and you allow us to put them online, and I hope everybody enjoys them as much as we did. So I know many people now hear them, they made copies of the CDs and hear them on the radio. So I do hope that everybody's going to enjoy the music, and thanks again for allowing us to put them online.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.